Viven en un country. Andan en BMW para arriba. Los fines de semana se cogen a las mejores minas. Morfan bien todos los días. El día anterior al partido durmieron tranquilamente en un hotel 5 estrellas y se rascaron la verga durante 24 horas sin hacer nada, jugando al ping-pong y al pool y a la play. Juegan al fútbol todos los días de su vida. Los botines, $6.000, $5.000, no sé cuánto salen, ponele 3.000 mangos, 4.000 mangos, están vendados por un kinesiólogo. Están bien comidos, están bien entrenados. Las medias, que son las que no te cortan la circulación, los pantaloncitos, que son los de los huevos, que no te raspan los huevos, la camiseta te estira la espalda, es la que no transpira, que sale 800 pesos, no sé cuánto sale una camiseta para jugar al fútbol. La pelota es perfecta, perfecta, 120 euros, inflada con un barómetro a 8 bares, la cancha no tiene un solo pozo, el arco tiene 7,20 metros por 2,40. Te aplauden cuando salís a la cancha. La concha de tu madre, no sabés parar una pelota. Le vas a pagar al arco y la tirás a la mierda. Le vas a hacer un pase a tu compañero que está a 1 metro. Y haces así, se la pasas mal. Hijo de puta, eso me puede pasar a mí con esta panza. No hago.
You live in the best country. The best girls. You have the best cars, best house. And a control you can't do, a pass you can't do. I love this guy. I absolutely love this guy. And another guy that I love very much, Kenny Ken, the legend. Everybody, round of applause if they were in the background. But Kenny Ken, thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm good, you know what? I have to admit, it's come around probably too quickly, because it was like yesterday that we're playing our last game of the season at St Mary's. We're winning 2-1. It was 1-1 for a long time. We were getting angry and ready to have a go at the players. And Odegaard pulls it out of the hat, and it's 2-1. But it was an anticlimax, because we knew the game was over. Spurs won the Europa League. Liverpool won the league very easily, and it was a case of like half of us wondering why the hell is this manager still here? Should have gone. And then we thought we'd have a quiet pre-season, but it was the most noisiest pre-season ever, without a ball being kicked. It was all to do with transfers. Seshko first, then it was Gyökeres, Zubimendi. We deep down knew he was coming, but we're getting angry because it was taking too long. We're getting angry, it was taking too long with Gyökeres. And then we went down the Eze road. In between that, they sneaked in Madueke, who we're thinking, how the hell has that happened? Why has that happened? And then the football season start, and the bad news is that it's highly likely that Eze's chosen Spurs. So it's been good. I've watched the Liverpool game. I thought, you don't take anything out of it. Liverpool won the game. We've got the points. They conceded goals, but there's no great results. I've seen City smash Wolves. And was City great or Wolves bad? So we've got all those questions, that we're going to find out in the next 37 games. But anyway, the most important thing is now City and Liverpool put a marker down. 8 goals between them over to Arsenal.
Kenny, what an intro. But listen, the thing is that I want to go to the start. So just like obviously summarize it by like, how do you feel about the transfer window? Because I'm kind of like a 5-6 out of 10. That's how I feel. I feel like it is. I feel like we could have done way better. There's a player that I really love out there, and we didn't go for him. You probably know him, Rodrigo. Do you know what I'm saying? But how? Just like overall, how did you feel about the transfer window? Where did it go wrong for you?
You know what? I'm gonna feel like the bloke who who spoils things for young kids. I feel like the bloke who would tell a 6-year-old that Father Christmas doesn't exist, or you tell a child that when they lose a tooth, it was me who put down the 50 quid, not the tooth fairy. So in how I'm going to summarise that is that you can't really mark the season, the transfer window out of 10 until the end of the season. That's when you know whether we're a success or not. The barometer for success for, say, Gyökeres is not so much him scoring 25 or 30 goals. It's those games when it's really, really tight, the opposition is camped out on the goal line, and we can't score. We tried everything, and then the chance arises. He puts the ball in the back of the net, and he does it 3 or 4 times, and that leads to us either getting the Champions League final or it leads to us winning the league. That's how you mark him out of 10. It's not the amount of goals he scores; it's the important goals. You know, where it's really a 50-50 game, where it's a tight game against a 6-pointer against one of your rivals, and he gets a goal. That's how you can mark him. Zubimendi, if he moves the compass, northwards, and we look a better team midfield, then you judge that. And then you look at Madueke at the end of the season. Is he creating chances? Is he getting 10 or 15 goals a season? That's how you mark it in a season. It's like doing your A-levels. You know, if you do predicted grades for A-levels and they say you're going to get 2 A's and a B, you haven't sit the exams yet. So I'm going to have to be the bloke who tells the kid that Father Christmas doesn't exist, or the Tooth Fairy doesn't exist. It's actually me who put the money down. I think as Arsenal fans got to look at it, because we've been burnt a lot of times in terms of lack of success, even though we promised it in terms of the way we played and the way we defended. So I think it's not pessimism, it's cautious. You've got to be cautious when you're an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, 100%. We really do. And I get the whole spoiling it for the kids part, but well said. We can't really talk about that until it's all done. But pre-season comes along, against Milan, average, Newcastle terrible, Tottenham terrible, Villarreal terrible. And then Bilbao had a good game, and all of a sudden, everything's all right. Kenny. Don't worry, kid. Don't worry. 1 game against 3. If we really want to go there. But what do you think of the pre-season games? What was your thoughts?
Well, for me, it was the pre-season games, right? Is that you've got to look at it this way. You can only have the pre-season with the players you got. Gyökeres wasn't done by then. Madueke wasn't done by then. But Zubimendi was done. What we learned from pre-season is that we still struggle to break down teams with low blocks. We're not as good defensively as we should have been in pre-season. The positives, believe it or not, were Max Dowman. I mean, if you're going for the league and the positive during your off season is a 15-year-old who hasn't even taken HGCSEs, then it doesn't leave much room for optimism. I'd rather just have a quiet pre-season when no one's talking about us and we just get on with it. But that's one thing Arsenal need to sort of come to terms with, and trying to compound is teams with low blocks. So tomorrow we're going to play low block. Pre-season has shown we can't break it down. Spurs just went basically said, right, if we do a low block, let's see how they can break this down. And we couldn't. We learned that Declan Rice, he still was running on empty. He still looks tired. But what we learned is that Norgard's going to play a lot of games. Zubimendi, if you give him space, give him protection, he's going to look good. But you may feel that he is an upgrade in terms of how we're going to play midfield. But will he be consistent enough? That's what pre-season has told me. Another thing is pre-season told me is that teams are going to target Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back in terms of not so much coming down his sides, but when you're on the counter attack, they're going to go down his side because he doesn't have protection, and 2, he tries to get the ball in a half turn. If you press him and press him, you can press him into mistakes, and that can let the opposition in. If you look at the goal against Tottenham, Raya gave him the ball. He's trying to get an half turn. Boom. Sars robbed him, chipped the goalkeeper from 45 yards, 50 yards. You look at the same situation with the goal against Villarreal, the third goal. It was on his side. So that's a worry. So there's an opportunity for Calafiori to get into the left-back position. Defensively, we nothing's changed. We're still looking good. In terms of Saka, he's looking really sharp. Martinelli, I'm afraid, has carried on his frustrating displays from last season. Then you could tell by just looking at him, you're thinking, you know what? If we have to sell to buy, then he's one of the players who've got to go. That's the thing. One thing we like from the manager, still stubborn. If he wants to win the league, he's got to change the style of play. He's got Gyökeres now. Would he change the style of play? Would he use Havertz sparingly? Would he do what he normally does and said, you know what? It's great that we got Gyökeres, it's great we got Madueke, but whatever position there is on the field, in midfield and up top, Havertz has to play. I don't think he's lost his obsession with selecting Kai Havertz.
I mean, it makes sense, the amount of money he spent on Kai Havertz and the amount of money he's given these players. Talking about Martinelli, terrible, absolutely terrible. I think Martinelli he's got found out. Can I be real? He's got found out, Martinelli.
Well, you know what it is for Martinelli? Well, the things we loved him for are the things that are actually holding him back. We loved him because he was off the cuff, in terms of like his quick feet, his ball skills, and the fact that you could tell that he's a street footballer. And that one of the things we liked is the fact that he had that turn of pace. He used to go in the box and you just couldn't go near him. It took opponents by surprise. However, now teams are playing low block against us. Now teams are organised. That's actually his weakness. He's looking way too predictable. So he's having to vary his game, and as you can see, he's not very good at. He's not very good in terms of like there's certain aspects of his game which is very, very poor, and that he's only plays his best football when he plays off the cuff, which is no good in modern football. And the only thing he brings to the table is maybe he's because of his pace, he can help out. He can track back, but you don't pay him 180 grand to track back. You pay him 180 grand to score, between 15 and 20 goals a season, and get just as many assists. That's what he's paid for.
Big up Shane in the chat as well. Big up Shane.
Shane.
But 100%, I agree with the Martinelli thing. Listen, what I don't understand about Arteta, if you're going to play a certain system, and you know that Martinelli does not fit the system, so why don't you just sell him and let's move on from this bullshit? You know what I'm saying? Let's just move on. If you wanted someone...
You know what it is with Martinelli? I think with Gabriel Martinelli is Arteta's got a bit of a, how to say, a bipolar relationship with him. There's no doubt about it that Arteta was trying to replace him in 22-23 Modric. He got Trossard in, but what you've noticed is that he's not sure who his best left back is, because sometimes it's Trossard, he gets run against Martinelli on the bench, and vice versa. But against teams, the left back's pretty slow. A right back who's slow, or teams that's slow in the back, he'll put in Martinelli. He's still not sure about who his best, number 11 is. And with Madueke in the team, you're going to have the same situation where it won't be sort of Trossard that will be competing for Martinelli. It'll be Madueke playing that position. I think Trossard, the club have briefed the opposition about Trossard, so, letting it slip that this club's in for him and that club's in for him. And you just get impression that Trossard wants out as well. So if he's going to sell someone, he's going to hope it's Trossard rather than Martinelli. When you and I know Martinelli would fetch more money. If Arsenal right now went up to announce his availability, I could tell you clubs will come in for him. Germany,
100%.
Spain,
maybe Saudi clubs.
But it seems like the manager won't let it go. We didn't. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we couldn't get Eberechi yesterday, because two things that stops us from getting him is the clause in his contract. We weren't prepared to meet the clause, nor were Spurs, and we've got to sell to buy, and that's the the explanation, or the explanation's been leaked out by the club.
Makes sense. Big up to Touchline, man. Big up to Touchline in the chat. But yeah, sell to buy. I heard that we were offered Saliba for Rodrigo in exchange, and we said no. How do you feel about that? Because I'll be honest, Kenny, I like Saliba very much. I really do think that he's up there, because in our time, we didn't get to see much great defenders. From Campbell to Saliba and Gabriel, there's not a lot of defenders I really liked. Maybe Mertesacker. Mertesacker. I didn't even like Koscielny. I didn't even like him.
I hear. I think Saliba, he's a son of Cranjall. He's younger, and he's got that excellent partnership with Gabriel. So you don't really want to break that up. You can see why Real Madrid would be after him because of the fact that, you know, they had injuries to Militao and lost him for most of the season. That's one of the reasons why they were awful defensively last season. And also Danny Carvajal was one who was virtually their man of the match in the Champions League final. He was injured as well. So obviously, not only do they want Saliba for that reason, just because they know he's young and he's fitter, you know, they got a situation where if they want to win in Europe, regain the La Liga title, they have to be strong in defensive. So I understand it. However, Arsenal at this moment of time can't lose Saliba for any money at the moment. However, money talks in football. I can't see anyone at Arsenal not being disinterested.
Would you change?
If you look at a defender, right? 9 out of 10 times, if someone said 70 million for Saliba, you say get lost. But if they say 95 million and 100 million, that's a discussion. Because for a defender and a club like Arsenal, every player's got his price, whether we like it or not. Even Saka's got his price. And as much as Arsenal fans don't want to hear that, remember, we're fans. Berta's a businessman. Arteta is the equivalent of a temporary worker, where you know these consultants who earn big money in a city. They work for a bank and they have a 3 or 4 year contract, and they go and work elsewhere. Well, that's a football coach. You know what I mean?
Facts. No, 100%. I agree with you, and everybody does have their price. But I don't think Real Madrid will pay 100 million. They'll just wait for him to run out his contract. But I heard that he's going to sign a contract with Arsenal. I hope he does. But
he'll sign a contract. But you know why he'll sign a contract is because it's in the club's best interest for him to sign a contract, because the day will come when his head will be turned, especially if we don't win trophies.
Do you think Saka's head would turn?
Well, yeah, it will turn, but let's just say Saka will only, in my opinion, get those kind of sort of like eyes if he finally does what a world-class player should be doing. If he gets 25 goals and 15 assists in one season, the clubs will come running for him, just like Gareth Bale. You look at Gareth Bale when he was at Tottenham in his last season, he got about 20, 25 League Cup goals, and he got a few assists. And Spurs were playing with a free roll. What happened? Real Madrid came knocking the sum. He refused to train for his gut Spurs. 86 million, and he did. Spurs weren't winning nothing. Now you look at Arsenal, biggest club, third biggest club in the country. We're not winning things. Now, if that carries on, into like the next season or the season after that, and Saka produces those numbers that I'm talking about, 25 League Cup goals and 15 assists, well, Real Madrid will come knocking. Barcelona will come knocking, and they'll break the price for him because they know they got a currency that he wants. Champions League like medals, La Liga medals. And that's what happens in all walks of life in football. Your head gets turned. One, if you're not being selected like Cole Palmer, you're not getting first team football at Man City because they got a lorry load of players who cost more than him. So a club like Chelsea, it's no brainer, good player, he'll get signed. But if you're not winning anything, without a shadow of doubt, you get signed. Doesn't matter whether he's an academy player or not. Trent Alexander-Arnold won a lot at Liverpool. Didn't stop him going to Real Madrid, did it?
Facts.
He won a lot. He's won 2 titles. He's played in about 3 Champions League finals, won one of them, won the League Cup, won League Cups and FA Cups. He's won the full set of trophies. where Liverpool were competing against money bags, dynasty Man City. He could have stayed at Liverpool because he's a Scouser, but his head got turned and he won things. Saka, when his numbers go up, which it should do, and we don't win things, it's inevitable Real Madrid will come knocking. They have to. And they will have to.
Okay, here's the question. Here's the question everybody's waiting for. Look, in my opinion, Max Dalman's the best player we have at Arsenal. Okay,
is he?
What I hear about, yeah, in my opinion, from what I saw, I know you're going to tell me, Kenny, you're going to tell me you're crazy, Rashid. You haven't.
No, you're not crazy. Actually, no, you're not crazy. You're not crazy at all. But say what you got to say anyway.
Yeah. I feel like Max Dalman. Me and Lee watched the game against Newcastle. I don't know if you watched the watch along, but like we were watching the watch along. Do you know what I'm saying? Or you were at the ground? I don't know, but we were watching the game. As soon as Max Dalman came, different game. The way he plays football, the way he reads the game. We've been waiting for a player like this. We do have Saka. For me, Saka's a very good player. But is he world class? Now I want to ask you.
That's the question.
And I don't want you to be biased, okay? I don't want you to be biased.
No. That's the question. Well, if you watched my arguments with DG and a conversation with my brother, Saka's not world class. He's close to it, but he's only going to be world class if he meets those targets I've set him. If he's scoring 25 League and Cup goals and he's getting 15 assists, which his ability demands, then of course you can call him world class. Gareth Bale was able to go in that world class category because of that last season at Spurs. He knocked on the door world class, went to Real Madrid, replicated that in a team where Cristiano Ronaldo was the main man, in a team where they had Benzema, but he still produced those numbers. And at the biggest, Man United and Real Madrid are vying for to be the biggest clubs in the world. He went to one of the biggest clubs in the world, the joint biggest club in the world, and done it. And that's why you've got to set for Saka. It's not blasphemy to say Saka's not world class yet, because as good as he is, and as much as he's main man, you can't reduce the levels of demands because it's Bukayo Saka, where at his level, he has to score 20 League Cup goals plus and get as many assists. Because the reason why I say he has to, because Phil Foden did it in 2024. He plays in a kind of like a free-ish role, but mainly plays in like the midfield, sometimes supplements in the front three. He got 20 goals, League and Cup goals. The League and Cup goals for a Man City in the season that they won the league in 24. So if Phil Foden can do it, Saka can do it, because I think Saka's a superior player. But that's the barometer for any player that wants to call themselves world class. They have to produce those kind of numbers. The same with Cole Palmer has to produce those numbers. It's a requirement. It's a requirement. It's not even like you look at Salah and Mane. They did that. In fact, in both the same season, when they were close to winning the league in 18-19, both of them got 20 goals or more plus, and both of them shared a golden boot. That's world class. And then the season after, they went and pissed the league. Have Liverpool looked the same since Mane's left? I don't think they have.
No, they haven't.
That's the level that Bukayo's got to get to. The Salah kind level and the Mane kind level. Then you call him world class. It's not blasphemy. It's not putting him down. It's these are the standards. These are like the levels that have been set by, but players like Salah, players like Perez back in 22 as a 3-2 as a 4 when he scored just as many goals and assists. That's the level, and I think Bukayo can get there. But to be called world class, he has to produce those numbers.
Do you think that Arteta's stopping him from getting those numbers, or is he just that this is his level? Because I'm kind of, what would you say?
I can say that because out of all this is Saka's team. It's Saka's still the main man in that football team. Even as far back as the 21 season, it was a case of give Saka the ball, he wins the game for us. And ultimately he did. He's his main man. The fact that he overplayed him and virtually played him in every game before he broke down completely with his hamstring, he was his main man. And his second main man is two lieutenants are Odegaard and Havertz. They're his two lieutenants. But Saka's his main man. So in terms of his main man, obviously Arteta's tactics don't sort of like supplement Saka's voyage into being world class and voyage into get us numbers. However, if you look at our best football, does come down that right side. Who plays down that right side? Saka. Where is Odegaard's first position and first when he looks to go and attack? Who does he look for most? He don't look for Martinelli. He looks for Saka. So the way we attack is virtually there for Saka.
But do you think maybe it's because of Timber overlapping? Maybe it's because of Timber overlapping?
It wouldn't make much of a difference because if Benjamin White went there, his numbers are still going to be good. I'm sure if he had a full season last season, he might have got 10, 15 goals. He's capable of doing that. If he wants to go into that sort of like that corridor of being world class, he has to score 25 for me, or 20 to 25 goals, league and cup goals, and have 15 assists. The reason I'm saying is that Mohamed Salah scored 29 goals in the league last season and got 18 assists.
Oh, but he's a stat padder.
All right. You look at Mohamed Salah. He defies opinion. Our league gunner doesn't think he's a very good footballer, and the reason why he doesn't think he's a very good footballer is because Joey Barton, as much as you think the most rely on Joey Barton, he says that Mohamed Salah, and I'm not saying it, he said he's the worst player in the world. And what he meant is that some of the things he does is off the cuff. Technically, it could be questionable. When it goes right, it's brilliant. But when it goes wrong, he looks really, really bad. And I think that's probably what Lee's alluding to and what, Joey Barton's alluding to. However, those numbers, you can't lie with those numbers. He was so good last season. He could afford to have a drop-off because Liverpool already won the league. Look at him yesterday. With his wrong foot, he scored a goal where he should have passed the ball, but his position and his practice just went in the bottom of the net. You know what I mean? He's good to go this season. If you want to talk, we're going to segue into something else, but I'll wait for you to get to it, where we're going to talk about standards for other players.
Yeah, we are, and I think we do need to look at those standards right after we go through some of the comments, because people have been big up to BBK, big up to Jalil, thank you very much, big up to AFC, big up to Solly saying, I find it funny that just now these fans are finally forced to deal with the Eze issue. I've been saying it all summer. I know you lads have as well. Where would this man play if we get him? They're just finding an excuse for me. In my opinion, they're just finding an excuse for us not to bring him. But go on, Kenny.
Solly's 100% right, because at the end of the day, all of us have been like I said, not guilty, because we mean well. We want the best for Arsenal. We've said that he's going to be a massive difference in terms of like the creativity he brings to the side. That we'll be able to have another option when we're dealing with low blocks. We won't have to rely on two players for our creativity, i.e. Odegaard and Saka. We've got another guy who can unlock the door, who can try and who has the sort of brain, he has a quick feet, he has that kind of get something out of nothing player. But it is a pertinent question. Where is he going to play? Is he going to drop Odegaard? He can't. He's not a left winger, as Crystal Palace players will say. So find him a place in the side when you've got a captain that's nailed on in that position, and then you've got the Kai Havertz sort of conundrum and the enigma that is Kai Havertz. So as much as we know he's going to elevate us, we're not sure that the person who matters the most when it comes to team selection is actually going to play him. We're not sure that the person who's in charge of team selection actually wants him. And that's the situation. And then you look at the club as well. The fact that we've got to sell the boy, the person who's in charge of team selection may not want to lose players like Martinelli or Trossard, because that's what it's going to take to get him in. And then you marry that on to the situation with Tottenham, right, where both clubs didn't sort of activate their release clause. But Tottenham have been courting him for 2 years. for about 2 seasons now. And he was a guest at the North London Derby when we beat him in 24, April to 28, 24. I know for a fact because I was on a Spurs show, and it was let slip by an agent that he is the guest, and Spurs were trying to court him even then. But clearly it was a release clause, and clearly it wasn't the right time because there was all sorts of turmoil with Big Ange in the second season where it's a case of Spurs fans wanting them out for footballing reasons. Now, new manager, the fact it's World Cup year as well, the fact that he's definitely going to play every game for him, fitness permitting. So that kind of puts it into perspective. It's that we were basically like nicking him from Tottenham's clutches a lot in 11th hour. But is there any evidence that an Arsenal representative or the Arsenal coach has gone up to and said, right, we want you really much. This is a project we want. This is how we're going to use you. Because that's what Spurs have done. They've sold the Spurs project to him, whatever it is. Or I think all he wants to hear is that I'm going to play every game. I don't think he's going to be told that at Arsenal. So Sully's got a beautiful and, like I said, a pertinent point because he's right. We all talk about what we want. What does the manager want? We were saying the same thing with regard Gyökeres and Sesko. It made sense to us, but the only reason why Gyökeres is at the football club because he's actually a second choice. The first choice is Šeško.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. But we have to move. Hey, listen. Big up to NG. Big up. Is Dauman better than Ethan? Yes. Yes, I stand by it. Yes. Not that Ethan is a very good player as well. I like Ethan.
They're different players. They're different players in terms of like Dauman play. Technically, Dauman is smoother in what he does. He's got that turn of pace which you want in a young player. He's brave as well. He wants the ball even though he's getting flailed. And you feel that there's an end product all day. You haven't seen much of an end product yet, but sometimes you look at a player and you think you just look at a player and you just know that something different, something's happening there. Something different's happening there. You sort of say, Yamal. You looked at him play and you went, yeah, something different's happening there. This is something I haven't seen for a long time. A player at his age, I think, yes, something's different's happening here. And you look at Max Dauman, and I know a lot of fans, although I only watched the Spurs game, it's the only pre-season game I watched. I get where you guys coming from. Something different was happening there. The problem we got in terms of he's in the squad, but when you're under pressure to win something and you're actually essentially concentrating on just 2 tournaments, I don't think you can rely on a 15-year-old to shoot you out the table. You can put him as part of the squad, but are you genuinely going to use him in big games? I don't think you will. He's there if you need him, but I don't think you will. You know what I mean? I think. But the thing is, how do you hold these guys back? Because people are probably saying the same thing about Yamal. But is he as good as Lamine Yamal? I don't know because the decisions that I watched the game against Internazionale in the semi-finals, and every decision Yamal made was the right decision. He's only 17. I watched him in the Euros for Spain, and every decision at that age he made was a right decision. His decision making was good for such a young player. Is Max Dauman in that situation? Because I know you're talking about the acceleration, the turn of pace, and his ability to stretch games. But what you want at that age in order to select him is decision making.
Don't you think his decision making is on point? I feel like every decision that he makes.
But the thing is that it is on point. It's a pre-season. We looked at Yamal when he was 16 in big games for Barcelona, and that's where you think you can't hold this guy back. You saw it in the Euros for Spain. You can't hold this guy back. And last season, when he thought it was a fluke, he went and done it again for Spain, for Barcelona this time, and it's for Spain. So you look at the decision making, and you think you can't hold him player. So the question you have to say about Max Dowman, seeing him in pre-season, is he in that category of one? Are we seeing there's something different happening here? And category 2 is his decision making on points to the extent that even at his young age, his decision making of a veteran player. Because if it's both 1 and 2, then he has to play. I ask you because you've seen a lot more of him in pre-season, and that's because to get this team with this manager, despite getting this team with his manager, it's not about having that je ne sais quoi that we got to be seeing something unique and different. It's decision making. Now, knowing Mikel like you know, is he going to get in that team and influence games? Be allowed to?
It's a tough one because the way I look at it it's like I know for a fact that if Dowman plays as that number 10 or right wing, something is going to happen there. But always we have to go back to that system because when we face those low blocks, we really look clueless. Do you know what I'm saying? And I understand. Is he going to do it at a high level? Do you know what I'm saying? But I really trust this player, Kenny. I haven't trusted the player for a long, long time.
I can see the excitement. I think we've known about Dowman for quite a while. I think the first time we looked at Dowman is when we lost to that. Was it quarterfinal to Man? Was it semi-final, quarterfinal? Man United. Was it under 18s?
When we played, under 18s.
That's even though he went to extra time. Man United eventually won the game. What stuck out was his performances, the way he controlled the game. And the way that left foot, you know what I mean. And we looked at him, we said, something's happening here. And I think that's where we first got attracted to him, and that actually pushed him into sort of like the first team. And just because of his performance in the pre-season, he is part of the first team squad. And he's been named as part of the. He's the league, the squad that's been added to Premier League. He's in that squad.
Yeah, I listen. I want to get a Dowman shirt, but he's not going to play. So hey, listen.
You don't know that, but the question you need to ask yourself is that everyone concerned with Arsenal is under considerable pressure on the basis that everything that Arsenal do is going to be watched, and that's just the fans. Every show that you're going to be participating in, or every show that you're going to broadcast from your channel, all your views are going to go up, your subscriptions go up, because we'll be the most watched fans this season, because regardless of the fact that a lot of us have ourselves down as second or third favourites of the league and others down as probably fourth favourites of the Champions League, we have to win something this season, or there's going to be nightmares. There's going to be nightmares with it regarding Arteta's suitability for the job. And it'll be fights between certain fans who are going to want him to stay. Some of them we suspect for business reasons, so they can be seen as good fans or get themselves on TV. There's going to be arguments with certain characters, with the D's of the world, the Egals of the world, the Christians of the world. There'll be arguments there. There'll be anger towards people like your Robbies, your all the other
James
alleged level-headed podcasters, because they're going to be frustrated. We want change. At what we're saying, just get out of the way. Get out of the way. If you're going to start, having doubts, or you're trying to, be progress, change, not be a force for change, then get out of the way. Stop interfering and mind our own business. We want the manager out. We want our own man in, because our own man is going to win us the league. We don't want to hear from these guys. We want to hear from these alleged positive gooners. All these people saying that, Arteta has taken us from, he's changed the whole focus of the club, and he's done any this, and we've made a lot of progress. We don't want to hear that. So what's going to happen is that you're going to have online combats with these fans. You're going to have shows where, whether you like it or not, and whether you want to be part of those shows, you are going to have Arteta in and Arteta out shows where the panel is going to have 3 Arteta ins and 3 Arteta outs, and that's what you're going to see in every podcast. Most of the podcasts. Then you're going to see Twitter fights, and you may see verbal conflicts where you'll
It
have,
might even be more
well, you have verbal
in certain
conflicts.
pubs.
Well, you have verbal conflicts, and
You
you'll
get
have people screaming at each other. I say it respectfully. Not many people who go to football can actually fight. They can do a lot of that, but they can't fight. I should know. I should know. I'm sure. People still talk to me about the video that went viral when we played Watford, and which I was involved in. Well, I can now say it because it's nearly 10 years down the line. 10 years down the line. If you raise your hands to someone who's twice your size, what do you expect?
What do you expect? Boom, go to sleep. That's what you expect.
Well, he's lucky that didn't happen. But let's just say, don't raise your hands and keep your hands to yourself, and don't confront someone in an aggressive manner when that person doesn't know what you've got in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, keep playing with us. But 100%.
You don't go to a guy who's brought up in Finsbury Park.
Yeah.
And expect him to just think, oh, please don't hurt me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right. You see the other side, but we move on. I'm hearing certain as good as Ethan Dowman are. How is Arteta relying on an 18-year-old, 15-year-old? Arteta's deluded. He's not going to rely on them. Let's just move. DGT. He's not going to rely.
He's actually got a good point. That's actually a point. I think what he's left at, or what he's hiding behind that comment, is we're not getting Eze because one of the reasons we may not be getting the players because we don't want to harm the development of Nwaneri and Dowman. That's another reason, because you get Eze, you may move the quality compass northwards, and you might move us tactically northwards, but because you spent a lot of money on the player, there's no way that these guys are going to be get in front of him. You know, it makes no sense to buy a player for big money, and then they're deputies for youngsters. So he's got. Do
you think they'll get game time this season? Like we've seen
Ranieri
that Ethan didn't get.
Ranieri will.
Do you think he'll get game time? Yeah.
Well, Ranieri will, because
fair enough.
You know, Ranieri will, because he's got experience of the first team, and you know we see what he can do, and I'm sure, you know, if he will learn to be better off the ball. Dowman, not sure, not too sure. I'm really not too sure. The only way he gets game time is winning 4 or 5-0 in games. That's all. That's an awful thing to say, but am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're not. No, you're not. 100%.
Say you're at the Etihad, and it's like you say theoretically you need to stay in the top 4, and you're at the Etihad, or theoretically you need every point to actually win the title, even though Liverpool, Man City are 2 or 3 points up, and you're waiting for the drop points, right? And you're at the Etihad, it's 0-0, and then under any circumstances, you'll be happy with a point. But because it's like 6 games to go, and it's 0-0, and really you've got to win the game. Would you bring a 16-year-old on?
Logically, you shouldn't. I know. Logically, you shouldn't. But it is what it is. Arteta put us in this predicament. I can go to you player for player, and like I did on another show with D, with SB, with Catch to them.
Oh, you do shows with B. You do shows with
I've done a show. I've done a couple of shows. I haven't been on his channel.
I was on a show with him.
By Deluded Guna. Deluded Guna was the one that linked. Deluded Guna.
Right. D seems to, thrive.
He's on the fence, but like a bit more towards the positive side, right?
We're on Dan's show. D says that, how Dan likes, we all sort of like mute ourselves and let everyone speak. D says he's not comfortable with that. He says he needs a back and forth because, he's having to get his train of thought because we're all making points, different sort of points. And he likes to sort of have a back and forth. He says, well, in essence, he likes to have his...
He ganged up on me. As in, there was
he doesn't want that. I think what it was is that I think because you want everyone to earlier turn, you just let them speak. But he's kind of sort of like commented and said, right, this is what about this, what about that, and I think Dan's trying to get this. He doesn't really want the show to be like that, but D likes a back and forth where every point is up for discussion. And I think, I think you know that because I've been on this show.
I know that. They're a whole team. They're the whole team. I call them the on the fence gooners. Deluded Gooner. They know themselves. You probably watch this, but Deluded Gooner, D, Hooks, SB, Catch. These are all their teams.
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm up to Hooks. I'm up to Hooks. And I went to Hooks and said, you and the girl are on the same page when it comes to thinking that this manager's the right man. And the minute he corrected me, he said, "No, I'm not that. No, you've got that wrong thing." And I was on a show with him a few months before where he came across as that.
No. It's a new kind of there's positive fans, negative fans, which is us. We're the negative fans, apparently. And then there's on the fence. These are on the fence gooners.
Oh, right. Okay. I understand that.
Sometimes they're negative and sometimes they're positive and they haven't found...
I understand.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
political gooners, a.k.a. political gooners.
Well, see, D comes across as very much, of the belief that the manager's the right man for the job.
Yeah, he's more towards the positive. Hooks is more than towards the negative.
I'm glad you corrected.
They're both on the fence. But D is more positive and Hooks is more negative, but they're both on the fence. They haven't decided yet. But big up to Views, big up to Gianni in the chat.
I'm glad we got you. Well, they do say like every day's a school day.
Yeah, No, for real. This is the 3 types of gooners. So the positive fans are AFTV and them, man. They're gone. They're unsavable, Kenny. They're gone. They're unsavable. Igal, AFTV.
I'm glad we cleared that up. But in terms of saying the situation regarding Max Dowman, if I was him, I'll go out on loan.
Yeah.
At the end of next season, I'll go out on loan. I'll go and join it. I think the best club for him that where we'll learn his trade. I'll go to Brentford.
Okay.
Yeah, because if Brentford stay up, or if they go down, I think that's a good environment for him because Brentford do play the right way. Keith Andrews is a good. We don't know what he's like as a head coach, but we know he's done good work in the coaching for the Republic of Ireland, and he's done really good to coach his job at Brentford under Thomas Frank. So that's what I'll do, because I do think that when you're a young player coming through, you do need to learn your trade. I don't think at a big club that it has to win trophies, has to be competing for the league, the Champions League. I don't think there's time for you to develop as a footy player. And it's not just at Arsenal. It'd be the same at Man City, it'd be the same at Chelsea, and it'd definitely be the same at Liverpool as well. And then you come back, and then you come back bright as new. I think that'd be the best thing for him. I think we've missed the boat in doing that with Ranieri because we given him games in the league. We gave him quite a lot of games last year. But with Dowman, I think that'd be the best thing for him because that's the only way I think he can learn. But then again, Phil Foden didn't go out alone, did he?
No, he didn't. And Pep Guardiola found a way to play Phil Foden. But anyway, we move on to the last part of this show because I don't want to keep Kenny here. He wants to go spend time with his family. I do, and it's understandable. An hour was perfect. So the last part of the show, we're talking about Arsenal, Man United. What's your predictions and how do you feel about this game in general? As in, just tell us about that. Arsenal, Man United.
If you're a promoter and you're a sports promoter, or if you're a concert promoter or a club promoter and you're handing out flyers outside, what's the night outside a club in Mayfair, outside a club in the Leicester Square, or outside clubs around
Soho,
Soho or Hammersmith, and you told them that tomorrow isn't just Man United versus Arsenal. It's Šeško versus Gyökeres.
Ooh.
Both Šeško and Gyökeres were wanted by both clubs.
Yeah.
Šeško was Arsenal's first choice for about a couple of years, and at 11th hour we pulled out. He is now playing for Man United. Gyökeres played for Ruben Amorim at Sporting Lisboa. Ruben Amorim wanted him. He said no to Man United because he wanted to come to Arsenal. Man United and Arsenal playing. And then, if I was selling it to you and I said, look, Arsenal have only won twice in 19 visits to Old Trafford.
Yeah.
No, sorry, twice in 20 visits to Old Trafford. You'll be going, well, that's, and then
It's worrying.
Man United,
Worrying, yeah.
Arsenal at the FA Cup with 10 men, and they won a penalty shootout. And then, if I was to add on, Man United at their worst actually battered Arsenal, and Arsenal were lucky to get them a draw. But if I just cut all of that out and I just said Šeško versus Gyökeres, you're gonna get. They'll be turning away. People want to pay to get in, won't they?
Yeah, they would. It's such a show. It's such a show to see Šeško and Gyökeres. I'm excited, to be honest. I'm excited to see Gyökeres score against Man United.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about Šeško because usually players that we have any kind of attachment or anything to do with Arsenal, they usually do well against us for some reason.
And then the second question is going to be, if I was selling the tickets, we know, are they both going to start?
No, maybe they wouldn't.
Šeško has not kicked a ball for Man United in pre-season. Man United, he was paraded at the crowd in their last game in pre-season against Fiorentina. Gyökeres started. I think he started. He started against.
He did. He started against Villarreal. No, Bilbao.
So he started against Bilbao. So that's the first time he started pre-season. Although he came on against Spurs and came on against Villarreal.
Yeah.
Kai Havertz came on the pitch in the second half. He scored a great goal. Showed a bit of turn of pace. He's bulked up. These are all the talking points before you even talk about whether Arsenal are going to win. Because that's how exciting it is. But when you talk about Arsenal, crap record against Man United. Man United have got a better team on paper to the extent that they have Mbeumo, they spent a lot of money on, Kuna, who they got early, and you've got Šeško. For the crowd, they probably will start all three. And they'll be determined not to lose. This is Amorim's team there. You know that he ain't going to be messing around. Regardless of what you think of Onana, he's fit and he's going to start tomorrow. And then you've got Arsenal. If Man United play a low block, how are we going to come back to long block? What if Man United come out the traps really well and go for us? With the pace of Mbeumo, the hard running of Cunha, because they didn't have any pace, and they got genuine pace now in the front three.
Yeah. And Ahmed didn't play against us, if you remember. Yeah. Ahmed didn't play, I think. That
game. And Šeško's got a lot of pace, and Ahmed, he's fit. He could, they'll fit him in the side. In midfield, they're going to have a bit of legs now, and defensively, are we going to be able to break down their sort of like their wing backs?
No.
They're going to play the wing backs against us. They're going to hit us on the break. They've got the pace in the break. Saying that, we've got a better team than them. We've got to lay down a marker because, as I said earlier in the show, Liverpool laid down a marker. They weren't great defensively, but they still won when the pressure was on. They won 4-2, and they made the result more comfortable than it looked, especially when Bournemouth played out their skins. Man City smashed Wolves and laid down a marker. Haaland got 2 goals. Shirky came and scored.
Oh,
Reinders scored
high
as well,
baller.
right? Mamouche has come, like I said, came off the bench. You got embarrassment of riches. We got to lay down a marker. We couldn't have had a harder game as well. Man United. Sometimes when it's bad, it's very, very bad. But they now got goals in that side. How I think it's going to go?
Yeah. What do you think? Because I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a draw.
I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a draw because both teams, Arsenal haven't. I don't think have got the quality and the tactics at the moment to beat a low block. And Man United will refuse to lose. They'll refuse to lose. They'll take a point if they have to. They're not going to go gun ho against us because if they went gun ho against this Arsenal side, we'll beat them 3 or 4 because that's what Arsenal do. If you leave this Arsenal side space, they'll kill you. We'll kill you. But a lot of teams won't do that, and Man United, I don't think we're going to do that. That's why I think it's going to be. We'll be able to break down. One thing as well, our set pieces with the new set piece law, where they're watching all sorts of skullduggery at set pieces, which is designed to stop us. We're going to have to find another way to break them down. And again, one of the things we worry about is creativity. One of the things we worry about is the ability to break down low blocks. So I have to be optimistic and say we'll get a draw.
Me too. Kenny, thank you very much for being here. Thanks for everybody that's tuned in as well. I'm sorry I couldn't read out as much as comments, but we were talking and it shouldn't be a 1 hour show. I'll be real with you, Kenny. It should have been at least two.
I'm not too funny, right? From what we discussed backstage, I think you were exhausted when you're away, and dealing with the aftermath of it has made you even more exhausted. So you need to reserve your strength for what is going to be a very combative, exciting, memorable season for both the wrong and right reasons. But let me tell you something now. Your work rate in terms of what you've got to do has got to be up there. Any shows you appear on, you've got to be at your best because you're going to be watched and scrutinised. Because we haven't won anything for 6 years.
I know. And I will try. Big up to Tex in the chat as well. Big up to Lion Tex. Make sure you go subscribe to Lion Tex. But Kenny, we're going to go raid Lee Gunner right now. I think he's with North Live or something.
We've definitely got to raid Lee. He's gonna. I'll tell you one thing. If people are throwing rotten tomatoes at him, there's going to be more rotten tomatoes. If people are going to be agreeing with Lee and all the other content creators, this is all I say to you now. All you content creators, everyone who appears on podcasts, the sun is going to shine. Make sure you make hay.
Facts. So people, we're going to go raid Lee. Make sure you write in the comments, you should be on the strip, North. Okay, should be on the strip. Make sure you say that when we raid Lee. But thanks again, Kenny, and we're out, people. Peace. Arteta out, by the way.